Welcome back to goldstocktrades.com. Today we have a special guest with us, John Barker. John is the Vice President of Business Development at Loncor Resources, which can be traded as LN on the Toronto Stock Exchange and as LONCF on the OTCQX. John's here to discuss some recent news and developments on their Adumbi project in the DRC. Thank you, John, for being here with us today.
Jeb, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
John, you had some significant news this morning, drilling at Adumbi. First off, before we get into the news, talk to us about the significance of where you're exploring and some of the partnerships that you have with Barrick and some of the shareholders that you have at Lancor and the excitement behind this Adumbi project.
Yeah, just as an overview, we're operating up in the top right-hand corner of the DRC, and about 220 kilometers away, Barrick, in a joint venture with AngloGold, have the Kibali mine. And for over a decade now, that's been put together, that mine. And then for the last number of years, it's been a stunning performer for Barrick. So, for the people who are the uninitiated to the DRC, I think it gives some confidence that things can be achieved. I mean, as an indication, they just came out with the results there, and they had the all-in costs under $800 an ounce for that project at Kibali. And that's the lowest of their Barrick's six mines in Africa. So it's a really phenomenal place, and it continues to be an outperformer for them. So that puts the region into perspective. Where we are, I say 220 k's away, we control a belt called Ngayu, and we're really focusing more and more. The team has done a great job at focusing in on one project called Adumbi. And it's the last year that it's really come into its own. It was just over about a year ago that we increased the resources there at Adumbi to Adumbi in a satellite deposit around 2.5 million ounces. But the grade is really excellent too, not just the size, but the grade 2.5 grams a ton is really excellent. So that was where we were, as it were, and then we assessed where we needed to be in the future, and where we needed to be was more ounces. So we saw there were a few gaps in the Adumbi deposit, so we put a few holes in there, and also we wanted to see what was happening underneath, potentially underground. And so we started a program, and about a 12-hole program. We finished the in-pit drilling. We'd hope to have a resource out on upgrade of about 20% in our pit resource. And then we continue to drill underground, and we've just announced today great results for one of the holes underground. It's 32 meters at just over 6 grams a ton, which is really an outstanding result. So I think when you put all of it together, what we're seeing is we spent a lot of time on the ground assessing it, and the team have really done, as I mentioned, a great job. But we've also been very, very active getting our story out over the last 6 months to a year, and we've now started to do that. We're starting to get some traction. People are starting to see what we have, and what we have is a project that's growing in size and significance, and because of the grade, it's really got phenomenal potential from an economic point of view as well. So that's the key for us now. That's where the value is going to be released, and it's in the next sort of 6 months. Hopefully, we should have a scoping study out, which will show some phenomenal figures coming out for Adumbi. I think the neat thing too, when we've done that drilling, we would hope that the resource in the pit, along with the satellite deposit, goes to around 3 million ounces, and then underground, we'd hope to add. In the region, it's always tough to know, but in the region, around 1 million ounces underground. That gives you around a 4 million ounce, but that's still only to 600 meters, which is not deep in mining terms. So we have the potential to move significantly larger than 4 million ounces, which is now becoming a very noticeable deposit, especially when you layer on top of that the fact that our grade is essentially twice the majority of operators in West Africa. So our economics should be really excellent.
And these results in perspective to Kibali results, the grade and the width of the intersection, how would you compare it?
Yeah, so it's great that we have this yardstick, as it were, we can keep pointing to and saying, hey, look, they're doing it. This is what's happening over there. And in the case of underground. Kibali, half of their tonnage currently is coming from underground, and their average intersects of their drill holes. I saw an announcement in 2019. Their average is around 10 meters wide, just over 4 grams a ton, 4 to 4.5 grams a ton. So 10 meters, 4.5 grams a ton, let's say. Well, this one is 32 meters at 6 grams a ton. So you can see we have to be happy with it. It's one of a number of holes, and I'm not going to say that they're all going to be like this, but when you're creating a resource, it's great to have a hole like this make an appearance. That's for sure. So it certainly augurs well for the resource calculation.
John, when operating in the DRC, please highlight the team here led by Peter Cowley and Arnie Conrad, and why it's so important to have the right team in place when operating in the DRC.
Yeah, the DRC, you're looking at a place that our CEO, Arnie Conrad, has operated for 30 years. And he really has been through the highs and the lows and come out now with this selection of assets. And again, hopefully we're heading towards a high. So he's been through 4 presidents and really knows the system and how to operate. It's critical. It's critical in all jurisdictions. But certainly, it's very, very positive for us. He's a 24% shareholder as well, so very much aligned in releasing maximum value to shareholders, as we all are in the company. And then I think the other key name, again, apart from the guys who are operating on the ground and actually doing the hard yards on the ground, we've got Peter Cowley. He used to head up geological teams for major multinationals, and I think importantly for the people who don't know this area particularly well, the geology we have here is something called greenstone with banded ironstones cutting through it. He's found almost 30 million ounces of resources in Tanzania and the DRC, which is essentially the similar geological setting, and almost 14 million ounces in the DRC. So he knows this type of geology intimately over 20 years. So yeah, it really helps us make progress in the way that we are currently.
Other than Arnie, any strategic shareholders?
Yeah, our strategic shareholders, we have Resolute, who's an Australian gold miner, sitting around 25%, and then we have Newmont sitting around 5% shareholders. And then beyond that, Barrick, I mentioned a couple of times now, Kibali, the mine that they have 45% of and manage, they're looking for Kibali too, essentially. And so there's a JV, the earn-in that they have, where they can earn into 65% by spending all of the money. We don't have to spend anything through a pre-feasibility. But to be honest, our focus is Adumbi, because we don't control the JV. And if anything comes, that'll be great, wonderful, cream on top. But for us, we're really getting excited about what's happening at Adumbi.
So today we're speaking with John Barker, VP of Business Development at Lancor, which can be traded as LN on the Toronto Stock Exchange and as LONCF on the US OTC. Some significant news, drill results today. Deepest hole at Adumbi, 32 meters, over 6 grams per ton gold. You can get more information by going to loncor.com. You can also email John if you have any questions at jbarker@loncor.com. They're also on Twitter at Loncor Resources, where they update their page with information on the company and current drilling and news. John, is there anything else you'd like to conclude with?
No, just the flow of news over the next 3 months. I think we'd expect to see that resource upgrade in the pit, which will be hopefully seen positively. We have ongoing drilling with another 4 to 5 holes, so that will be ongoing. And then within the sort of 6-month period, we'd hope to have a scoping study, an economic assessment of the Adumbi pit, which I believe, given what we're seeing at Kibali, I say they've got $900 million of EBITDA in 1 year. It gives you an indication of the sort of figures we would hope to be reflecting in our scoping study. Really special figures to come out in our scoping study if everything hangs together. So really positive news flow, which I think the market is now starting to appreciate.
Thanks, John, for being here with us today.
All right, Jeb. Good talking. Bye-bye.